Callum Smith is returning to the ring this Saturday, February 22nd, on the Riyadh season card, The Last Crescendo. This will be an opportunity for Mundo to show his wares that he is not done in the sport of boxing. And the opponent, a gentleman by the name of Joshua Buatsi, he too, who has yet to have a title shot, is being featured in this card facing Smith for an opportunity possibly after the winner of Ppv versus Ppv, a showdown between the two top light heavyweights for undisputed. These two men are going to fare and show the world what they have to offer. Will they be next in line? Let's talk about what can happen between Buatsi and Smith. One heck of a showdown. Fighters out of the UK. The Last Crescendo. The rematch between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol is going to take place Saturday, February 22nd. It'll be a pay-per-view event from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. These two men fought in October of 2024 for undisputed, with Beterbiev edging out a majority decision over Bivol. We didn't expect the rematch to occur so suddenly, but going into this fight, the undercard has been classified as one of the best in the history of the sport. And opening this card are two men whom we may have least expected to come about. And that's when we're going to see Joshua Buatsi, who has yet to challenge for a world title in his career, taking on a former world champion in Callum Smith. These two men are out of the UK, and it's a quality matchup between the two. You just never know sometimes when you see fighters come together. But this is a quality matchup that could have been something that have taken place a couple of years back. But Buatsi has been kind of like moving at a snail's pace in the sport of boxing. He's bringing on Saturday his record of 19-0 to challenge Mundo. He's got 13 KOs. But this will be the biggest fight of his career. When you think about him taking on Smith, Smith is a former world titleist, 30-2 with 22 KOs. He's 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Now, when we think about Buatsi, he's 31 years of age, 6'2" with a 74-inch reach. Why has Buatsi not taken the opportunity to challenge for a world title fight prior to now is anyone's guess. But on these Riyadh season events, they have been brought to a point where they have entertained audiences like nothing else, because most of the fights are 50-50 fights. And we get a chance to see these fighters in an element where it's about the competitive nature of the fighter. It's not so much about the promoter or A side or B side. Fighters in these events are being compensated royally, no pun intended, with what the Saudis are paying them for their activity. When you think about Buatsi's last couple of opponents, Willie Hutchison, Dan Aziz, and Powell Stepien, they don't really measure up to whom he's facing this Saturday in Callum Smith. Smith is a fighter that brings a lot to the ring, as far as experience and as far as boxing knowledge. He has been a fighter that has done his best. He had a period where he was a little inactive, but he's a little more active than Buatsi. And I believe with fighters under his belt such as Dazn Ppv, Gilberto Castillo Rivera, and Saul Canelo Alvarez, not to mention John Ryder, his resume speaks of the type of competition that you would want to see from a world-class fighter. Buatsi may lose it all in this fight. He's coming in not with that type of experience, but he says he has the desire. But it remains to be seen if he'll be psychologically up for this as he needs to be. Smith has advantages, and though he has been stopped, we know that he can box. And if he's ever able to establish distance in this fight, he could be a huge problem for Joshua Buatsi. Buatsi's best bet is to get close within mid-range and to work punches to the body and to the head. Smith has experience against a fighter who needs to fight that same type of way because he fought Saul Canelo Alvarez. And though Buatsi doesn't bring what Alvarez brings, the familiarity of the style is something that Smith may be able to find advantageous, having been in there with someone similar of that ilk. But will it work out for him? Who knows? But I'll tell you one thing, I expect this to be quite a crowd-pleasing matchup. These two men are going to go at it, and that pride and country aspect will come into play. And you look up, and one of these men is going to represent the country in a way that they say of true grit, true Brit. It's just a matter of which man. I know that Buatsi feels that he's the man and he can get this job done. But this fight is a little bit closer than many people may think. And I believe the man who doesn't adjust to the other, because at some point somebody is going to get into a rhythm, whether it's Buatsi finding comfort within that mid zone, or if it's Smith establishing range and creating a marked line, which is a danger zone for Buatsi to cross. Either way, whomever does that and the fighter who adjusts to what the opponent has done is going to have the advantage. And that I can't foresee between the two, because I believe they both have the desire to be the best on this night. But it's he who doesn't make the mistake who's going to be victorious. I still don't understand why Buatsi hasn't fought for a world title yet. There's something there with that, something of difficulty. And until that is defined, we don't know what we may get overall. But I'm still saying, what a heck of a fight to open up the evening's events for Saturday, February 22nd. This is an amazing card put together by the Saudis, and it is going to really feed and fan the flames of the boxing crowd and public. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about who may prevail in this fight. Do you think it's going to be Buatsi or Smith? Leave comments and let's discuss. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.